Welcome everyone to another unboxing, a long overdue unboxing here on Nerd of the Rings. We've got a really cool one today. The Doors of Durin by Wētā Workshop, the iconic West Gate of Moria, the Doors of Durin that glows by sunlight and moonlight. So cool. Let's get into it. All right, here we go. Let's check out the Doors of Durin. Oh, and I open it up to the back, of course. We've got a little teeny tiny axe in there. Also a USB cable, which the Fellowship famously discovered outside the Doors of Durin. All right, there we go. How's it looking, folks? Oh, it's really well padded. That's nice. There's a lot of tree branches, I think, on this one. So it's nice that they pad that up. Be very gentle taking these out here. My natural instinct, as you know if you've watched my videos before, is to basically open these like a wild animal. But I'm fighting that instinct right now because I'm very cautiously trying to avoid breaking any of the tree branches. Which I kind of feel like Tolkien would appreciate. You know, I'm trying to avoid hurting a tree here. Let's see, it's kind of taking shape now that we're getting all the foam out of the way. There we go. Boom. Nice big piece, too. Big, but I think it would fit, yeah, it'll fit on the shelf right nicely. And of course we have the iconic Doors of Durin, and these light up as well, so we'll get to that here in a second. Now this one we can see on the bottom, Doors of Durin. This is one done by Leonard Ellis. We talked to him down at Wētā when we visited New Zealand in January. Leonard's done a lot of great pieces there at Wētā. So this is obviously no exception here. I mean, look at this thing. Absolutely iconic. The Doors of Durin, of course, were made by the Dwarven smith Narvi and the Elven smith Celebrimbor. And if we look closely, we can actually see that there is a Elven rune for C for Celebrimbor, N for Narvi, and in the bottom center, we've got a D for Durin. We've got the Star of Feanor right here in the middle. So this is actually where Gandalf in the movies, he sticks his staff there when he's trying out different passwords. So he sticks it right on that star. And then we've got the crown with 7 stars. That is representative of Durin's crown and the 7 stars that he sees above his head as he looks in the mirror. And those are stars, they're significant throughout Tolkien. So they pop up. There's 7 stars when it comes to Númenor. This particular constellation is known as the Valacirca, and it foretells the fall of Morgoth. It's really cool. If you dive deeper, check out my video on Varda, who created the stars. I go into it in that video. But yes, a very significant constellation for all the races of Middle-earth. Really, really cool. So we've got that on there, and then we've got a hammer and anvil. We've got trees. Now these represent, there's a couple different theories because it's not explicitly stated what these 2 trees represent. One is that it could be the elven tree that is in the city of Tirion in Valinor. The other theory is that it's the 2 trees of Valinor that gave light to the world. So there's a couple different theories on the trees. And then across the top we have the iconic declaration that these are the Doors of Durin, Lord of Moria, and to speak, friend, and enter. And then we see the back, which I open it up to initially when I open the box. And then on the back corner here, we've got the USB port where you can plug in a power cable to turn on the Doors of Durin. So there we go, the Doors of Durin. You can see them off and on again. Very, very cool. I love that it lights up. It looks really sharp, and you can really make out these details that I mentioned earlier. You know, the Elvish script really pops, and it's kind of remarkable actually how small this, especially the second innermost line of Elven script, how much detail you can make out in such a small area. Yeah, this is a really nice piece. As a big dwarf fan, I definitely approve of the Doors of Durin being this really cool collectible. I think this would look really nice on a shelf with, you know, flanked by Tolkien books. I think that would look really cool. I think this is a really nice shelf height. They design a lot of their statues for bookshelf height, which is cool. You don't need a big freestanding display for a lot of these pieces. This will fit right on a bookshelf, which is great. And as we've seen with a lot of these bigger boxes, it has a flap on the front, and we get some great behind the scenes shots of them crafting this. We even see some concept art from the films that they no doubt used for reference in addition to the films themselves. It's always really cool. I feel like I could watch behind the scenes stuff of these Wētā guys working their wizardry all day long. And this is interesting. I'll get a close-up shot of this, but it talks about how the most challenging aspect of this particular statue is actually getting the trees right and getting the leaves and everything that are kind of patchy on these trees, as we see in the films. That's kind of interesting. It's not the intricate Dwarven or Elven designs that presented the most problems, but actually the trees themselves. And then we get a little blurb about the Doors of Durin, which I'll read off real quick. Khazad-dûm was the greatest of the dwarf kingdoms of old, a vast labyrinth of halls and passages cut deep into the misty mountains. It contained the city of Dwarf, home of the Longbeards, Durin's folk. For thousands of years, Khazad-dûm remained the seat of dwarven power in Middle-earth, and for as long as dwarves occupied its chambers, work continued ceaselessly. Following rich veins of Mithril silver, that most valued of metals, the dwarves tunneled ever deeper. In times of wealth and peace, the western entrance to Khazad-dûm stood open. Commerce thrived between Durin's people and the neighbouring Elves. The doors themselves were a symbol of friendship between the two, wrought as they were by both Dwarven and Elven hands. Mithril mined within was spun with magic into ithildin letters and iconography that shone only in the light of the moon or stars. Upon the sheer surfaces were inlaid the initials of their makers, the king, and the riddling inscription, "Speak friend and enter." And then this is really helpful because it actually shows me a picture here. So we find out that the axe that comes with it actually goes in the back here. So there we go, a little Easter egg that goes on the back of the sculpture, because obviously when they go through the Doors of Durin, they discover in the films that there's kind of been a massacre a little bit, and there's dwarven axes and bodies laying around all over the place. So there we go, we got a little rusted dwarven axe for the interior. Well, there we go, guys. It is the Doors of Durin environment statue from Wētā Workshop. A huge thanks, as always, to our friends at Collector Zone who sent this along so I could unbox it for you today. And don't forget to go to their website, use the code NOTR so you can save yourself some money on getting any number of awesome Wētā statues, Lord of the Rings statues. Collector Zone, they have all kinds of other stuff too if you're into other nerdy things. So again, check them out, collectorzone.com. Use the code NOTR to save yourself some money on some amazing collectibles, especially these Wētā Workshop pieces. I've yet to come across a Wētā Workshop statue that I don't absolutely love. No surprise there. So you can flank your bookshelf with some epic statues from the folks at Wētā and our friends over at Collector Zone. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Nerd of the Rings.